It is the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM, and it's time to talk about a bit of softball. And we do that with the president of the Gawler and District Softball Association, Veg Ingram. Veg, lovely to have you on the line again on this Friday evening. How are you doing?
Very good, Ellis. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Going very well, and I'm particularly keen to know how the Giants got on, the men's Gawler representatives in softball, how they got on last weekend. So give us a bit of a summation of what went down last Friday night.
Yeah, so last Friday night the men played Raptors. They did lose that game. Raptors were a fairly inexperienced team, but they did have a good pitcher. The Giants men just couldn't do it in the field, and they scored a few runs in, unfortunately for Giants, so Raptors won that game. The men actually had a young pitcher, Isaac Darlinghurst, who used to play for Trinity, now is too old, so he's joined the men's competition, and he had his pitching debut, and it was fantastic to watch. Every time he got a strike, he did a little happy dance, so we're calling him Happy Feet now, so he really enjoyed getting out there on the mound for the men.
Wow, love it. Now, the Giants tackle the Hillbillies this evening. I think on paper, in any sort of dynamic, this would be a Giants win, but you never know in the actual softball world. So give us your preview as to who will prevail in this game.
Yeah, so Hillbillies are a very experienced team, but they have got a few more juniors that are coming up. Some of those boys that are too old to play softball in the regular competition have joined the men's. So they will have some young people in the team, but they do have a lot of experience as well. Giants should also have back one of their main pitchers, Glenn Matthews. So he's been told by the coaches he's not to work anymore Friday night, so hopefully he'll be out there on the mound on tonight's game at 6:30 in Monaparis. So that should be a really good game to watch.
Love the dedication. Let's switch our focus to the junior side of things. No games this weekend due to a Christmas pageant that's going on, which is always a very special thing. But Veg, will cast our eyes towards what went on last weekend. So start by giving us the rundown from the under-14s.
Yeah, so under-14s last week we had Trinity College Yellow played against Kangas. So the game started pretty close. It was a close contest between both teams. Kangas took control in the second innings, scoring 7 runs, which is the maximum runs for the juniors per innings. And they just continued to dominate the game. Charlie Freeman from Kangas batted 1,000, so that basically means every time they came up to bat, they had a safe hit. Tani Lapworth and Annalise Monagos from Trinity fielded really well and actually contributed to all of Trinity's outs for the game. The final score was Kangas 12, Trinity Yellow 4. The other under-14 game was Giants versus Trinity Red. Giants batted well and took the lead early. Giants' Izzy Norris and Memphis Jones were definitely the standout batters for the game. Trinity fought hard, but unfortunately lost the game to Giants 4-12. The other Division 1 game was Giants versus Blue Jays. Giants let some runs come in early, which was just too hard to recover from in the end. Blue Jays batted well and won the game 3-11.
One game in the under-17s, Veg, but plenty of action going on. Unpack that one for us.
Yeah, so we had one under-17 game played on the weekend, so that was Blue Jays versus Kangas. Unfortunately, Trinity couldn't form an under-17 team, so they've had to pull their team out of the competition. So we're now going to have a 3-team competition this season. So Kangas took on Blue Jays. So Kangas were very strong again this week, taking the lead early with their matchup against Blue Jays. The pitchers on both sides had strikeouts, which is great to see throughout the game. The hit of the game goes to Zachary Bryan from Blue Jays. He hit a monster hit up the middle. However, Kangas just piled on the runs to win that game 14-7.
And in Div 2, in the senior side of things, we did have some pretty interesting action take place. So the floor's yours. Give us the rundown for Div 2.
Yeah, so we had 2 games in the Div 2. The first one was against Giants and Kangas. So Giants proved too strong for Kangas in the end, winning the game 15-7. They took the lead early and held Kangas to 7 runs with some tight fielding throughout the game. So that was a good game, and I'm thinking Giants enjoyed that win on the weekend against Kangas. The other game was Two Wells and Blue Jays. So Blue Jays put on a dominant display with the bats, scoring 7 runs in each inning to win convincingly over Two Wells. Tash Taylor and Bailey Peel, so it tends to run in the family from Blue Jays. Each had multiple hits. Brenna McDowell was the best of the 2Ls batters. Her hit scoring a run and then a pass ball getting her home. Fortunately for 2Ls, the game reverted back, so they because they couldn't complete the innings. So the final score was 2Ls 2, Blue Jays 14.
Div 1 is the big ticket item across the Diamonds, so unpack the Div 1 action for us.
Yeah, so Div 1, we had Kangas Grey taking on 2Ls. So Kangas made their mark early in the game with 2 runs from 3 hits in the first innings. The Kangas pitcher Alex Hill, who debuted for the first time in Division 1, she's one of our juniors. She did a fantastic job keeping 2Ls scoreless, did a line drive catch, so that's when the ball comes straight back at the pitcher off the bat, and also a strikeout. The scores were tied till the very end when Emily Klopp hits brought in the winning run for 2Ls. Final score, 6-5. 2Ls' way. So that was a very close game.
There's Veg Ingram, the president of the Gawler and District Softball Association, telling us about last weekend's action. No games this weekend. I gather you and I'm sure some fairly tired softballers from across the Diamonds are all looking forward to putting up the feet for a weekend.
Well, definitely for the juniors. I think a lot of parents and coaches are going to enjoy that sleep-in.
Now, Veg, we'll get your preview of the seniors games happening this weekend. Give us the rundown of what your predictions are.
So in Division 2, we have 2Ls playing Giants. The Giants are coming off a win from last week with some strong batting, so 2Ls will have to make sure they're tied in the field to stop those runs coming in. The other Div 2 game is Kangas versus Blue Jays. So Blue Jays batted really well last week, but Kangas are strong in the offence, so this one could be anyone's game. Then in Division 1, we have Kangas Grey versus Blue Jays. So Kangas are still working out the best combination for the 2 Division 1 teams, making sure they get the pitcher-catcher combinations sorted. Blue Jays did come off a win from last week, so this should be a good contest. The other Division 1 game is Kangas Blue versus Giants. The Giants will have to work hard this week and definitely tighten up their fielding to beat Kangas Blue. So it should be a good contest this week.
Excellent stuff. That is Veg Ingram, the president of the Gawler and District Softball Association. Enjoy watching the seniors action across the weekend, Veg, and thanks for your time. We'll do it again next week. That was Veg Ingram joining me on the line. Well, coming up next here on the Flow Friday Sports Show, we'll check in with Ben Duxton from the Wimmera Mallee Cricket Association. Hopefully some games have gone on, given the touch-and-go circumstances over in Victoria with all the weather. That's up next here on the Flow Friday Sports Show. Don't go anywhere.